Welcome to yoga on July 9, 2020. It's roasting hot outside, like with the humidity, something like 40 degrees. And even last night when I got home, it was too hot to record anything. But I know that not all of you have air conditioning at home. Not all of you turn up the air conditioning quite as high as it is here at work, where it's actually 21 degrees and quite chilly. I don't like that, but I tried to turn the thermostat up, but it didn't respond. It didn't do anything. So we won't do anything that is terribly active or strenuous. We'll go for long holds. We'll get down to the floor pretty quickly. We'll do a couple of standing poses, a balance pose, and then we'll get down onto the floor. Okay? So our first standing pose is mountain pose. Lift your shoulders once up to your ears, pull them all the way back, and then let them settle down so that your collarbones are nice and broad. Arms are hanging at your sides, the palms naturally facing in towards your hips. Pull your head gently back so it's balanced over your shoulders. Test that by letting your neck go. A balanced head tips to the back, not to the front. Feel your weight evenly over your heels and the balls of your feet, inside of the feet and outside of the feet. You know your hips are over your ankles. Now to turn this from samastiti, which is just equal standing, to mountain pose, start to engage muscles, so opposing muscles, bicep, tricep, thigh muscle, hamstring. Start to squeeze a little bit through the hips, the buttocks. Leave your neck loose, just the major muscles, the chest, the back. And not clenching, but just a light tightening, just to engage them. Try at the same time to feel like you're lifting through the crown of your head, staying nice and tall. If your muscles are not balanced front and back, when you start engaging them, you might find yourself leaning forwards or leaning to one side. So pay attention. That signals imbalance in either the muscles themselves or how you are tightening them. Good. Release, relax, get ready for triangle pose. On the left side, again, I'm not going to talk you into it. You just come into the pose yourself, being mindful of all the steps. Exhale to look down. Inhale, soften the front knee, come up. Step to the front and switch sides. Again, completely on your own. Exhale, look down. Inhale, come up. Step to the front. I was going to do rotated triangle, but that's pretty stressful and tedious, so we're not going to do that one today. When it cools off, we'll get to the rotated triangles again. So now we're going to extend a triangle, and again, I'd like you to do this one on your own, remembering to take a very long step back. Release the upper arm, look down, straighten legs, and then step to the front. Extend a triangle, now with the right leg in front. And release. Step to the front. We'll do one warrior, just warrior one. On the left side, remember, square your hips with the front, step back. It's not a very large step, but enough so that you can bend the left knee, bring your hips square to the front, straighten the right leg. Then your arms, you can do whatever you want. Stick them out to the side, stick them up, lean your head back into them. I'm going to do this one today. Why not? Square my hips with the front, stretch, open up the front, and look up. Keep turning your hips to face the front. Increase the stretch on the hip flexor on the right side. Tuck your tailbone under. And then release. Straighten the left leg, step to the front. Do the same on the other side, except we'll change the arm position. Square the hips. Bring the arms to cactus arms now. The forearms are vertical. Try not to stick your head forward as you pull your arms back. Helps to turn the hands so they're facing the side now. So encourage the right movement in the shoulders. And then hold. Now focus again on the legs. Turn the hips to the front. Straighten the legs, or straighten the left leg, sorry. Keep squeezing your back. And release. Come to standing at the front. We'll do a forward fold. Hands on your hips, feet hip width apart or slightly wider. Inhale, look up. Exhale, come down. Hands on your shins. Stretch out between the crown of the head and your tailbone, and maybe this is where you stop, or you let your hands slide down. Start squeezing your core to lay your belly on your thighs. If you get down there, feel free to lift your big toes. Catch them with your peace fingers of either hand. And again, straighten your legs, relax your head. And as things loosen, your elbows come out to the side, gently encouraging your body to lay even further down on your legs. Inhale, release, bring your hands back to your shins. Exhale, hands to hips, bend your knees, come up to standing. Now we use some of that strength gained in the plank pose to do one flow to get down to the floor. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, high plank. Continue to a low plank. Inhale, you push yourself forward and up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take your time, walk out your dog. Open your shoulders by bending your knees and bringing your body closer to the floor. Only when the shoulders are open, you start thinking about the legs and you walk out your dog one side, the other side. And then you can straighten both legs if you like. Don't worry about the heels getting to the floor or not. And then look forward. Come to kneeling, cross your ankles. come to seated. Let's do a backward bend. Yeah, so with a warm up, we know this one. Tuck your right ankle in next to your right hip. Squeeze yourself over as much as your knee and ankle allows, and then come to lying down as far as is relatively comfortable. Try to keep your knees close together. If that knee starts popping out to the side, you're giving yourself quite a twist and stretch in the ankle. So come out, take your time. Roll yourself over to the long leg side. Release the bent one. Roll it out. Come around the left ankle. Move over as close as is comfortable for your knee and for your ankle. And then lean back. And you can get a bit of, what's it called? Yeah, fish pose out of this as well by arching through the back, tipping your head back, and landing with the crown of your head on the floor. That's only if other things are open enough to allow that. Come out of this, roll over, straighten out the leg, and come back up to seated. So fish pose has many benefits. One of them is nice stretch of the neck, that sort of flabby stuff that develops later in life, keeping that lubricated and flexible, delays the appearance of that flabby stuff that often happens underneath the neck. It also strengthens the neck because you're arching back and putting weight on it. It also stimulates a pressure point on the crown of the head. Things that you get when you do a headstand, for instance, which I loved doing, but I don't do anymore. It seems to be contraindicated for glaucoma, which runs in my family, and I have already somewhat high eyeball pressure because of the prescription of my lenses. Sort of comes hand in hand. Though I don't do stands anymore, I miss them a lot. I also don't do shoulder stands, much for the same reason, but I find other ways to get the same sort of benefits. And fish pose, or this backward stretch with pressure on the crown of my head, is one way to get that same benefit. So now we'll do another back bend, this one a little bit more strenuous. Come up onto your knees. Bring them so that they're hip width apart, and then you can come up on your toes so your ankles are a little bit closer. And then inhale, lean up and back, and reach back with just the right hand. Try to find the right heel, grab a hold of it, and pull your hips forward, stretching the right side and the whole front of your body. Pull yourself forward so that your hand slips off. Come to vertical. Now do the same on the left side. Roll the shoulders open. And come back up. So this is sort of beginning or baby camel pose. You want to come to a little bit more of a deeper camel pose. Roll your shoulders open, reach back. Both hands touch your heels, and then the hips come forward. Drop your head back. This is quite a vigorous back bend. You can tell you can get the exact same effect by lying on your belly. grabbing your ankles and pulling them in one side to side. So if your knees are not happy, or if things are a little bit tight, it's also a little bit less strenuous to do it on your belly. You can feel free to do it there. So I'm going to do one more camel, lean back. Sometimes easier to grab feet where the hips are back, and then pull the hips forward and up and lean your body back. And release. Breathing there is quite a challenge. Remember, whenever you're doing camel pose, that the whole front of your body is tight. It's going to be from your knees through your hip flexors. That's going to be pulling on your lower spine. So the arch happens in the middle of the back. Just think of the high jumper. He has to arch his back because the pull is going to go right through the middle of his back. So his lower back is straight. Once the upper back is over, he can flip everything else over. Same thing here. Arch back through the middle back, reach back and grab your ankles. Good. Let's take out some of that stress by doing a nice twist. Bring the left ankle to the right side. Cross the right foot over or not, you know the drill. And then turn to the side. I'm going to use my left arm, put it sort of like a flag on my right knee. I can put a little bit more pressure here to get more of a twist in the upper part of my back. If I'm doing this though, I have to engage my core to make sure that I'm not just wrenching my lower back. Also have the option to reach down and grab the right. It's hard when you twist yourself up. Shin. That gives you then also a stretch for the bicep. Other side. Set it up however you like. I usually start in this sort of flag position, get myself set up, and then I can reach down and grab the ankle. And release. A little bit of a counter twist. Good. Let's do butterfly. Bring the soles of your feet together. Depending on how high your knees end up, bring your hips either close or leave them farther away. Grab a hold of your feet, sit up nice and tall. Relax your chin, look down towards the floor, and just let gravity do its work here. You can also imagine pushing your knees out to the walls on either side. That engages the right set of muscles to actually pull them down towards the floor. release. Put your hands underneath your knees, lift them up. Stretch out your legs, lean back, roll your ankles. And let's come to lying on the floor, and we'll do a full fish pose. I demonstrated this yesterday from the head end. Today I'm going to demonstrate it from the foot end. I roll my hands underneath my hips, tuck my elbows in, my body comes up, and I lean back, open up broad through the collarbones, tip the head back, and come to the floor. Push onto the ground with the elbows to release. Lie down flat on your back. And using just your hand and arm strength, gently pull your head up to look at your toes. And release. We'll do a bridge pose next. Bring your heels in close to your hips. I'm going to reach around. Maybe you can too, because we've been doing these for a while. We're quite flexible. And this is a lot like camel pose that we've just done. I'm going to stand on my hands. So my heels are pressing into my hands. Roll my shoulders under. Push my knees away from you. My rib cage up towards my nose. And come up fairly high. Nice stretch for the shoulders. Lengthening of the lower back. Always remember that. Want to lengthen the back here, not just crank it up. And release, come off of your hands. Bring your hips down. Tuck your knees in and roll side to side. Now extend your right leg. Bring in your left. Grab the big toe with your peace fingers. Lying back on the floor. Kick out your leg as straight as you can. The other leg, I want you to hold it straight, which might mean, because of tight hips, that it floats. That's fine. Put your right hand on it to encourage it to float as low as it can. Both legs are as straight as you can muster. The right leg is perfectly straight. The left one, well, that all depends. If you'd like to, now you draw yourself up towards your knee and keep squeezing the leg overhead. Try not to let that right leg come any higher when you do this, though. Release. Let the left leg go down to the floor. Pick up the right. Peace fingers grab the toe. Left hand encourages the left leg to stay straight and float. Lie back. Extend the right leg. And if you like to crank it up a notch, pull yourself up, trying to bring your head up to the knee level. Keep kicking that right heel out, and the left leg stays long and close to the floor. Release, come back down. And let the right leg go. Relax into corpse pose. Shift your hips. Roll your head if you want to. Just relax everything. You can't tell whether it's relaxed or not, tighten it and then release it. Always get to a point where you know where you are and then you can move on from there. Slowly start wiggling your toes, your fingers. Take your time. There's no reason not just to stay in corpse pose for even longer. I just try to time it so that this whole thing is about a half hour long. But if you like to stay longer, a nice full 5 or 10 minute corpse pose is wonderful. Inhale, if you like, stretch overhead. Tuck in your knees. Round your back, roll side to side. Come onto your right side. Using your arm strength, push your way up to seated. Once you get to the front of your mat with an inhale, Stretch the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. Relax your hips. Relax back into your natural S curves. With an inhale, bring your hands together. Namaste. Thank you very much for joining me.